Hi, my name is Erin, and I've created this video to be paired with the slide deck for Google Classroom. This is intended for teachers that are new to using Google Classroom, and it's specifically targeted to secondary teachers. In this quick video, we're just going to go over the basics of creating classes, adding students, organizing tips, settings tips, and just very basics for managing your assignments. This is by no means an all-inclusive video. It's just quick to get you started, and I will be following back and circling back with you all with whatever support you need after this. As always, feel free to reach out to me as well. So first, for creating a class, you're just going to go to classroom.google.com. And on the top right-hand corner, you will click the plus sign and create a class. For those of you that teach the same course multiple times, multiple blocks or periods, you may find that you want to create one Google Classroom. So if I am teaching Advanced Algebra 1 during 3 of my blocks or periods, I might create one classroom to cover all 3 of those periods. That would mean I would have upwards of 90 students, 60 to 90 students in that one Google Classroom. But it would also make it easier for collaborating between classes. It would make it, when I differentiate things, perhaps a little bit easier for sharing with groups of students. So that is something to consider as a choice. Some teachers choose to. Some teachers, it's just easier to have the same 20 to 30 students, period 1, and a separate class for every block or period. Once you've created your class, you'll see the tabs for Stream, Classwork, People, and Grades. To add co-teachers and students, that would be under the People tab. However, as a tip, for that first week of school, I would not suggest adding your individual students by email. Some of us have over 100 students that we see in a year or in a semester or quarter, so that would be exhausting. So instead, the first week of school, I would share out a class code, have students join your class by that class code, and then add students manually by email later on as they transfer into your class or were absent and not there the days you shared the code. That would be a tip for you. Another tip that I've learned over time is adding case managers or resource teachers for your students with IEPs or 504 plans can be really helpful. So even if they aren't in the classroom with you, they aren't a co-teacher in that classroom, but they serve as students that are in your class at another time during the day, this can be very helpful. And some prefer to be in there as a teacher so they can check up on their caseload to see if students are missing work or falling behind. Others prefer just having student access so they can go in occasionally and see what students are working on. So if you decide to use this tip, just ask them what their individual preference may be. Now for organizing your Google Classroom, once your classroom's made, you'll see this Create button and you'll go down to Topic. So think of Topic like an old school binder that had dividers. A topic's like a divider that you would have within the binder itself. And you can see here I have a topic called Classroom Resources. I've also learned that it's very helpful to have material that students will come back to throughout your class that you teach with them, like a section to find important things, whether it's the block calendar, tech support, and I've linked a document there, a classroom tour where you've created a video of what you're going over, a class website, syllabus, etc. You can put whatever in here that pertains to your course. Also, I would suggest one of 3 ways for organizing your topics. One would be by unit or module. So you would list your units, and so starting off the year, you would just have unit 1, the title, and then the assignments underneath, then unit 2. And you may decide to either go in order or put the most current unit up at the top. The second option that some teachers use that's successful is going by week. But if you have the week, make sure you also include the date, and then every week you update with the assignments. A third option, if you are highly structured and organized, is having a today topic at the very top. So no matter if you organize by week or by unit or module, at the very top, having a today, and students always knowing that they go to that today tab. And then later on, you would drag and drop what was under today into the appropriate unit, and then add the new assignment under the today. Also, organizing your Google Classroom, adding emojis can really make certain things stand out. Emojipedia, which I've linked here, is a great site for finding appropriate emojis that you might want to use. And I would also suggest, if you are organizing by week, let's say, and you have 6 assignments under your week, and some are videos and some are readings, sometimes an emoji can be helpful to let students quickly know what they're going to be doing that day. Make sure you include an index about what emoji means, and maybe that would go under your classroom resource. So if you are going to use emojis, consistency is key, and using the same emoji to mean the same thing repeatedly. Also, something that some teachers find is really beneficial for their students is numbering assignments. So depending on how your class is organized, also making sure to include the number symbol in front of the number. You can see that 84 doesn't have the number symbol in front, but 80 does. Once you teach students the Control F function or the search function, the shortcut, if you have that number symbol in front, number 84, they will quickly pop up that one assignment. So if you are talking to a student, you're having a conference, you're missing assignment number 84, they go back to their Google Classroom, search for it. They don't need to know what week it was, what unit it was, it will quickly pop up. Whereas if you don't have that number symbol in front, if you have an assignment titled 1984, they're going to get some things that are not what they're looking for necessarily. So when organizing your Google Classroom, create a routine, practice finding the material in that first week, maybe at the beginning of class, once students have gotten the class code and are in, have them practice finding specific things. And then create a how-to video or guide to put in your classroom resource. This can be extremely helpful to others using Google Classroom. So a Screencast tool, Screencastify, WeVideo, they both have decent freemiums. Loom is free to educators with an educator account. Just record yourself going through the Google Classroom, where to find resources. I know it can be intimidating having your face in your video like I am here in the corner, but one and done. Just get through. It doesn't need to be perfect. Students love when teachers mess up. I'm sure I'll have my daughter pop up in the background here in a minute, and just make it personal and make it low stakes. You know, if your videos are perfect, they'll be intimidated to make a video themselves and make it personal. So by you putting yourself out there, your students will also feel more comfortable. Any toolboxes or features that you can use in those videos to make it pop or be more exciting, and then just upload that video in Google Classroom. In the slide deck and the speaker notes, I've linked a lot of extra things as well, and shout out to people that I've taken resources from, and making sure to give them credit as well. I highly, highly, highly stress that you do this tip, which is hiding the notifications on your stream. So you've got your stream, your classwork, your people, etc. Your classwork is really where you want to get students going to find their classwork, and not the stream. 7th and 8th grade should be good with this. 6th grade, you know, I'm not sure what background they're coming in with their Google Classroom. Most, since coming back to school, are pretty good, but we really want to make sure they're continuing to go to the classwork to find their work and not the stream. So the stream is kind of like a highlight reel, and it goes by in order of when you've posted. So you definitely want to hide those notifications and leave the stream. You don't want to see like Ms. Kamanaki posted this assignment today at 8 p.m. You only want to see pop up on the stream important shout outs, maybe a question you're posing to the class, or an important announcement, but not actual classwork links. You can continue to change other settings, like the banner in the background, and the colors that your theme is for your classroom. I say go with Canva. It's a great tool for creating these templates. When you go into Canva, you can just put in Google Classroom header. It'll make it the right size, and then they have tons of graphics and fonts that you can use. I've hyperlinked how to get a free educator account for Canva here. So that's like a pro account. You get so much great stuff. Now, managing your assignments, this is just a quick overview. This is not in depth. We will talk more about this, but I just wanted to talk on it briefly. Is that sometimes, especially in a day, you have multiple things that students might be doing on a Chromebook. And if that's the case, you might want to have all of those in a Google Doc, all the hyperlinks and titles. And then instead of linking a bunch of different things in an assignment, just linking a single Google Doc that houses all those hyperlinks. Again, I might be losing a couple of you here that are like, oh, what is she talking about? This is so new to me. I will get more in depth with this with you all. And in the slide deck, I've linked some resources. So don't worry too much about this now. If this feels a little uncomfortable, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned it in this video. Also, adding due dates can help your students, especially with their executive functioning of prioritizing assignments. So put a due date, even if it's flexible, even if you allow retakes and students to come back to work, having a due date puts it on the student's end on their to-do list, and it will help them prioritize assignments and when to complete them. Something else that I like to do this year is a Google Doc I created with lots of student choice and ways that they can monitor progress on their own and be shared with you. So again, if this is something you're comfortable with, I've linked it in the slide deck. But if not, we're moving up the scaffold here. And lastly, the final thing I'm going to touch on for this video is the importance of teaching students to use the mark as done and how to attach work. So once it's marked as done, even if they've done the work, if they don't mark as done on your teacher end, you're not going to know. It will take a little bit of work for you to find out if it's done or not. So really teaching that at the beginning of the year, making that a routine is awesome. Also, how to attach work. So if at the beginning of the year you're having students create a slide deck about themselves, but you didn't attach a template and they needed to create one, sometimes students will not create it from this work button. They'll create it on their own, and then they won't know how to attach it. So again, in the slide deck and the speaker notes, I have made a video that you can push out to your students on how to attach the work. I suggest, if this is new to you, you watching the video and then adding it to your classroom resources for students and families to come back to. So real quick video for you all for Google Classroom. We'll talk more about this, but hopefully this is good in getting you started.